Hi, and welcome to my 2024 award show. Hi! Hello! How are we doing? Today I am coming at you with some awards, some unanswered questions, some books we need to discuss from 2024 so that we can slowly ease in to 2025 and the good stuff, you know? Today I have this cute little microphone, so I'm not using a letter opener or a dagger or... This is courtesy of my mother. Thanks, Mom. Is it plugged in? No, because this is closest to a little award microphone. I'm gonna get right now. Anywho, let's jump in. Let's just start talking about it. I don't want this to be the world's longest video, which is what I always tend to do, so we're gonna just try to get through it in a reasonable hour. First award up is the most surprising book that I read. Now, this is hard for me because I don't really get surprised by books, and even I didn't read a lot of thrillers in 24, I'm gonna be honest, so I don't feel like I had a lot of plot twists that I was like, so shocked by. But unfortunately, that also means that I wasn't super surprised by a lot of books. I kind of just let the book take me on whatever journey it's wanting to take me on. And I say, with open arms, let's go. Let's do the thing. And sometimes it backfires. But I think my most surprising will have to go to Mayfly by C.J. Lead. This is it was technically the second book that I read in 2024. I knew that it was going to be following a serial killer. I knew that we were going to follow this girl and she was going to be unhinged and just do stuff. And I still didn't think I was going to get what I got. This book is twisted, it's dark, it's disgusting, and I loved it so much. It's so fun. I love this. It is girlhood. This is everything you've ever thought it would be and more. I adore it. In this, we are following Maeve, who is a girl working at Disney with her best friend. They are both Elsa and Anna, and they're having the time of their lives. And then things start to take a bit of a turn in Maeve's life, and decisions start being made. The ending of this book was a surprise I did not want. It was not the surprise I was looking for. The deaths were fun surprises. I was like, oh my god, wacky. Who would have thought? How imaginative. Love it. Love the deaths. But the thing that happens at the end is devastating and heartbreaking, and I was so mad about it. I was like, this is the wrong choice. This was incorrect. No. I don't agree. Simply just no. I'm still upset about it, and it's been a whole year. Mayfly. Most surprising for many reasons, but it was really good, and I do recommend it if you can handle, like, the gore and the stuff that goes on. It's, if you're squeamish, maybe not this one, but I do really, really recommend it. Now, the next award is going to go to the most disappointing book of 2024. I've got a couple nominees for this award, so buckle in. First up on the nominee list is A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. I wanted to love this so bad. I really did. I talked about it in my worst books. Is it like the worst book ever? No. I think a lot of people will still get some enjoyment out of it. I was just not that reader. This is supposed to be a heist book, and it's vampires, and there's a tea house, and it just, maybe heist books are not for me, and maybe that's what I've learned. Or this just didn't do it for me. I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about their drama. I kind of wish that we had more, like, undercity vampires and tea houses turning into blood houses. Like, I just wanted more of that, less heist. But that's just me. If you enjoy heists in book, this might work for you. If you like character-driven stories, this one could be for you. There's a few reasons why it didn't work. The next nominee is The Center, and the reason this is a disappointment is because so many people that I trust, that I get recommendations from, that I adore, have loved this. And so I'm clearly, what's up with me? But I just wanted a different conversation out of this. I really wanted to go much deeper. It's a short book, and I think maybe if it was longer, it could have given me what I was hoping from it, but I love the act of translation and learning languages. I just really wish that this went even more in depth in the conversations of translation. I just wish there was a lot more on translation. Okay, the next up is one that hurts me to talk poorly about, but This Ravenous Fate by Haley Dennings. Love her booktube channel. I was a fan for a long time. I don't super keep up anymore, and was really excited about their first debut novel. And it's a debut. I don't want to be harsh on people, but it kind of was a letdown for me. I was not as into it. I had an arc of this, which I'm very thankful for, but unfortunately, it kind of disappointed me. I just wanted more understanding of our two characters' backstories. They are these two best friends to enemies to lovers type thing. One of them is a vampire, one is of a famous vampire hunting powerhouse who created the weapon that can kill vampires. And unfortunately, we never got closure on, like, what happened in the girls' past that made them no longer friends. You get, like, snippets of it, and so I'm sure that the second book will go more in depth in that. I loved the atmosphere and the setting, the Harlem jazz age. It was nice. You got speakeasies, you've got a lot of cool things happening, and I did like that part, but I didn't like the characters. I didn't understand their motives. They're trying to solve a mystery, and genuinely, it didn't feel like anyone cared about such said mystery. I was like, what are we doing here? People are, like, going through something, like people are basically dying, like that should be a focus, but it's not. And they sent two teens out to figure it out who hate each other. It was just kind of a mess. And although I do hope that it gets better, authors can only evolve and get better as they go. Will I read its sequel? I'm not sure. Maybe, but we'll have to wait and see on that. And the final nominee for this category of most disappointing, I have Apprentice to the Villain. Why? What is the point of this book? It had one memorable scene that I enjoyed and everything else was just garbage. Hot trash. Maybe this should have been on my worst books. Why did I not do that? I really did not enjoy this. I read Assistant to the Villain, which is based off this girl's TikTok skits. She's never written a book before. It was picked up by Red Tower because it's popular on TikTok, and I don't think that it translated to book as well. There's not a whole lot of plot going on. I started this and I was so confused. I had no idea who anybody was and what was going on, and I just didn't get it for a long time. The only memorable scene is when our main character, like, sniffs a flower or something and she gets really drunk off of it, and I'm like, that's cute, that's whimsical, I like that. But other than that, unforgettable, didn't care for it. Will I finish the third book? It depends on if the people I've been buddy reading the series with continue on with it or not. I don't even think Eliza's read Apprentice to the Villain, so we'll see. Let's talk about the winner of the category of most disappointing. I think it's gonna have to go to the center. I know, it's not a bad book. I do recommend it. I think a lot of people will enjoy it. I just really wanted more from it, and the way that people have talked about it and praised it, I really, really wanted to like more, and the twist is something I normally love in books. As weird as that is to admit if you know what the twist is, but I was really excited about it, and it just didn't hit. It didn't follow through with everything that I wanted from it, and that's okay, but boo. Alright, our next category is the most unique magic system in a book. I have two nominees for this, the first one being The Last Blood Carver by Vanessa Lay. I really enjoyed this. It feels like a debut. It's definitely YA, and you can feel that in the pages, but something about it really resonated with me. I really loved these characters. I loved the conversations that the story is having. In this, we're following a young blood carver, one of the last in her lineage. They've been dying out because they've been used by colonizers to basically extinction. She's one of the last, and she is kind of bought off the black market to this wealthy family of young adults and siblings to hopefully help their uncle who's in a coma. And basically the magic system is that she can touch people and connect with them on a deeper level and like see their cells and can see what's like really wrong with them and like target that specific spot and try and heal them. And it's really cool and I really enjoyed it. Is it the most unique of all time? Maybe not, but it's not something that I've read that's memorable, at least from what I know. I could be wrong, but I don't usually pay a lot of attention to the magic systems, but this is one that really stuck out to me. And the other nominee, I know, When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Barker, I rather enjoyed it. I don't think it's a great book. I think that it's very long and doesn't need to be that long. I think it's very purple prose, descriptive of things that don't really make sense. I think the author knows the world so well in her head that when she's writing this story, she thinks that we are also in the know, but we aren't, and it's a little bit confusing at times because you don't know what all these things mean. But also, my biggest gripe with the book is that the character had no agency. It felt like everything was happening to her rather than her pushing the story along herself. I did enjoy the twist. I enjoyed the gods so much. The magic system is incredible. It's so good. I love a meddling god. We've talked about this. We know this. I love meddling gods. I love that kind of like a fate inked in blood, how everyone's like, you can be god touched at times, and our characters have been touched by some of the gods, but not all of the gods, and so depending on which god has lent some power to you, you have different abilities. I think it's so cool. I think that the gods was so unique, so fun. I loved the magic that came with it. Our main character is like kind of a bard because of one of the gods, and it's just, I love the storytelling of that. I love the world building. I love it so much. I can't say anything better about it. So I think clear winner for most unique magic system has to go to When the Moon Hatched. I just truly love this magic system. I love this world. Doesn't need to be more fleshed out and make more sense. Yes, for a 700-page book, I would like a lot more details. Good golly, it's good. I really, really love the magic. I think that's what really kept me captivated, is the magic and the gods and like learning about the history of the gods, and then like also, I would say about once you get to the twist of what's really going on, like once you figure out what's going on with the characters, I really enjoyed that aspect as well. It had some issues, it was only 4 stars, but I did really like that. I did. Alright, let's talk about a couple series as recommended. Oh my god, people have requested videos for me. That's always like a wild thing if someone's like, yes, I do want to see this from you. I'm like, okay, will do. So the next one, we're going to talk about some series, which I will do a whole in-depth series of what I'm in the middle of, what's going on. We'll talk about it. Best start to a series from 2024. I'm not even I'll tease the nominees. The Bridge Kingdom, so-so. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, close second. Top of the list, we already know. The Legend of Thesmar, Blood and Steel. One of my weirdly favorite books, and I don't even know, I don't remember if it made it to my top 10. I really loved Blood and Steel. I love the whole series though, so I look back on the first book so fondly. It is a storyline that I adore every single time. Therefore, it's like the best setup for me personally. I know I'm gonna have a good time, even if I can see the twist coming because I've read it before. It still, but for whatever reason, hits. The found family in these types of books, they do it for me. They really do. We've also got training montages that I just love to see. I love our main character proving the world wrong, saying that yes, women should be able to do what men do. Women should be warriors, and I love her standing up for herself like that. I also love the world. I love the wraiths. I love everything that I've read in the series, which includes slaying the Shadow Prince. Beautiful. Love it. Best series I've read. But best sequel does not necessarily go to Vows in Ruin, although I did enjoy Vows in Ruin. It was a so-so sequel, just because it's a lot of steam and a lot of on-again, off-again with the characters, and I love them, so I didn't really mind, and that's not something that, like, is a deal-breaker for me, but compared to, like, Fate and Furies, the third book, so better. So, best sequel, I want to say, is The Wicked King by Holly Black, the sequel to The Cruel Prince. This book does it for me. The Queen of Nothing was good, but I kind of wanted, like, more stakes, a little bit more epicness from it. Honestly, could have been longer. Would have loved more from the world, more from the politics, more Jude and Carden, so much more from the third book. But the second book, oh boy did it hit. It had punches. It took me on a roller coaster of emotions that I was not expecting. I was surprised by things that were going on. Immaculate series. I'm very excited. I really need to read the duology following Oak. But yeah, I had a good time. And now, best ending to a series. I don't really have any. I know. I really wish that I loved how books ended, like how series would end, but for whatever reason, they're always either lacking or it's trying to rush through wrapping everything up too quickly. There's just something about endings, especially in a longer series, that I just don't love. Like, technically we could say the Bridge Kingdom book 2, which is whatever the second book to the Bridge Kingdom is, I really enjoyed that one, but it's technically also a final because it's following a couple and the next book follows a different couple. So I guess it is kind of a conclusion. I would say it's maybe the best, just because I really like those characters and I also loved the desert vibes of the world. And so yeah, I guess that's kind of the best ending, but you know, not great. Alright, the next category we have is the most beautifully written or writing styles that really worked for me or resonated or were memorable to me in some way. I will be honest with you. I am not much of a grammar person. Like, I am so at it. I wouldn't say that writing is my, like, strongest suit ever when it comes to picking up on, like, if a comma's in the wrong spot or something. I can tell if something's a run-on sentence. I can tell if something's, like, a typo. I can tell if things are written in a sentence that don't make a whole lot of sense, but I'm also very forgiving on writing, and I don't notice good versus bad. It really just comes down to, like, does it work for me or not, which is really hard to, like, describe. I don't know how to be more objective about good writing. I would love to learn. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but it's something I would like to work on. Here are a couple of nominees of beautifully written books that stood out to me. Ling Hun being the first one. This was a short novella. I would say that it's got some really good quotes, some really, like, gut punch quotes that just make you really feel it. It's a book about grief and the small town or neighborhood of home where the dead can come back, basically. Like, you can buy a house, whoever you've lost will be in that house with you, and it's a sad story. It's really not happy. It's kind of sad and has, like, a lot going on in it, but the way that it came full circle at the end really shows that the author put in thought and care into how they wanted to curate the story, and I did really appreciate that. The next book that I want to make mention of is Underneath by Lily Wong. I don't recommend this. If you've seen my favorites, you know that it's one of those, like, be careful, caution. If you like true crime, though, you might enjoy it. But I really like the way that the story was written. I thought that it was fascinating to see somebody outside of a bubble kind of give a backstory and talk about something. And now, I don't think ethically, I've got some questions like how I feel about the story, but I try not to think about it too much. I think that there were some really beautiful quotes. I really like the way that the author was like, I know that the story is heavy and dark and hard to read and get through, but at the same time, I'm going to try and find ways to make it easier for you and get you through it. And I really liked a lot of the messages. This is a very, like, layered book. There was a lot that we got to talk about in the live show, and so I really did enjoy that. Again, caution to everybody about it. Oh, the next two. Okay, the next two are Antinora by Dory Lumpkin, I hope. I thought that this was also a very nice written horror novella. I think novellas can really let some authors shine. This is about a small town, very religious small town, and two best friends who might be a little sapphic at times, and them right out of high school as the town is turning against, I want to say her name is Nora, but Nora could also be the main girl, and I don't remember. But basically, she is kind of villainized by the whole town, by the church. She's seen as Satan, and there's just like a lot happening within the town in a very short amount of pages, and like I thought the ending was really nice. There's something about the story that really stuck with me, and I don't have religious trauma, so I couldn't relate to everything, but the reviews that I saw for this were like absolutely glowing reviews because they really resonated with what the story was saying, and I just thought it was really well written. And the final one is The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. Are we surprised? I finally read the book. Oh my gosh. I'm like the last to read this, I swear. This is young adult horror. And it's horror, alright. Definitely more gruesome than some YA, but I do recommend it if you can stomach it. It's all about a trans boy who kind of goes to a school for mediums who have purple eyes, and it's kind of like an illness to society, but also a place for these girls to learn etiquettes and how to be the perfect wife for their future man. And it's got some like ick to it, you know, but we are following a trans character who just doesn't resonate with the gender stereotypes that are being forced upon them, and there's a lot of like misgendering in this. There's a lot of trigger warnings and caution going into it, but god, it was stunning, and this is for sure going to be my winner. It was absolutely beautiful. It was a really good story. It had a lot going for it. I do kind of wish that we had like a little bit more of like paranormal in it. I know that that's like not really like the whole thing, but I did really enjoy this. I liked it a lot. Moving on. Next category is the most beautiful cover. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna say it. I've had a lot of beautiful covers come into my life. We know that I have a lot of special editions, that I buy a lot of books. What can we say? It's a hobby. Sorry. Along with buying a lot of books and pretty books, some you don't buy because you read them through audiobooks, but you still love the artwork. And my two contenders that I've written down are Diavola by Jennifer Thorne. This is such a beautiful cover. It's a good book. I really did enjoy like the slow horror of it. I loved being in Italy for it, at this like kind of haunted villa. It was very nice, atmospheric. I loved how messy and bad the family dynamics were. I really enjoyed being in Italy. But and also like towards the third end, it's so-so. It kind of, you know, falls off a little bit, has its moment of like, okay, the horror part of this, like I still enjoyed it, but a lot of people don't love it as much, and that's fine. But I would say that my winner for it would be Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews, I think. Stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. Holy cow, this cover is so pretty. I wish that I knew where I put it. I genuinely couldn't tell you where I put the book, but it is beautiful. It's so pretty, and I'm very happy that I ordered it and have it on my shelves somewhere. The next category we have is most memorable character. I have two. First one being Rooksbane Evening Star. What a name. Rooksbane Evening Star from The Crown of Oaths and Curses by J. Bree. First book, phenomenal. We've talked about this. Second book, disappointment, bad, but still has some redeeming qualities, unfortunately. I really like Rooksbane. I like Rook so much as a character. She is so headstrong. She really shows how much she's able to take on as a character. Like, she is treated bad. It's bad. And the way that she deals with everything and handles it, I love it. I would love to have her bravery, her strength, her courage going forward in life. Like, it is actually something to aspire towards. I do wish that she, you know, fought back a little bit more, but I can also understand why she didn't. And so, you know, I think she's smart. I like her a lot. My absolute favorite character of the entire year, though, was Muriel Margaret Macaulay from The Har. Oh my goodness. What a woman. She, like, this is old elderly woman who lives in a small Scottish coastal village near a har. It's a word. And she is so funny. She's so charming. She's so sweet. She truly has no problem fighting back. She is bravery. This is a woman who will stand up for anybody around. She fights for her whole village, even as everybody is slowly moving out and like selling their property. She stays there to fight the whole way through, and I just really admire her for that. She's so cool. The next category goes to most thought-provoking book. I have a couple nominees. Let's run through them. First, we have The Memory Police. This is a dystopian sci-fi story about a small island that slowly loses the memory of words. That item will completely disappear. It will vanish entirely. They won't be able to say the word anymore. No one can remember it except for the very few. And I don't really want to go too in depth with the story just because I don't want to spoil anything. I found the ending to be weirdly satisfying, but still unsatisfying. I found that the story was beautiful. I really liked the characters. The memory police, I did enjoy. The next one was Underneath, of course. There's just a lot of layers to this, like I had mentioned previously. So it just really made me think and have a lot of like really good discussions that I really appreciated and enjoyed having. It's one of like the best parts about reading with other people is like getting perspective and like seeing how everybody feels about things. So Underneath did make me think. The next one I have is Woodworm, which realistically, I think that it says a lot of stuff. Another horror novella. I don't know how to talk about it though, so please don't ask me to give you a plot. It's about a haunted house kind of, and a family who is down on their luck a little bit, and I don't know. It's in Madrid. It's cool. It's spooky. Yeah. I think that it was having good conversations. I kind of just wish that we had like a little bit more in depth of those conversations, but you know, when I was reading it, I was thinking about stuff. So it did something. But the winner of this category has to go to Annie Bot. Oh man, the thoughts that I had to have about the story. And I'm not the only one, which I've learned, which makes me feel bad but validated. Annie Bot is about a cuddle robot who is there to pleasure her partner, sort of, owner, Doug, who is the worst. He's a bad guy. He's a bad character. He kind of sucks. It's bad. In the way that he treats Annie and manipulates her body and such, as like he's able to get her tune-ups and like change her so often, but she's also like developing more of a conscience and she's becoming more like AI and like functioning as a human, and a lot of the developers want to use her as a model for future robots. The way that this book ends really like had me have to sit down and think about my relationships and how I can find myself in a bad relationship easily for forgiving people who don't deserve it. I really was like, at beginning I was disappointed by the ending of the story, and that is bad. That's wrong of me. That's not a good thought. That's really not. But it really made me sit there and I cried and I had to really think about why I thought I wanted a different ending, why I wanted a different happily ever after, why I thought that that was good. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And it's something that I'm grappling with still. And I've seen a few other reviews who also wished that the ending happened differently. That's not the right thing to feel at the end. That's not how we should be thinking of it. But yeah, that one definitely had me thinking the most and reflecting the most on myself and my thoughts and my previous traumas and stuff. It was weird. It was wild. It's an uncomfortable book, but I did enjoy it. And, of course, speaking of Annie Bot, let's get into my nominees for the best debut book that I read in 2024. Obviously, Annie Bot is one of them. It's short, it's right to the punch. A lot of people have issues with, like, there being sex in it, but, like, that is kind of the point of it. And it's not, like, in a romantasy kind of smut scene. Like, it's not that. It's not giving pleasure. It's a very like robotic analytical look at like what her life is, and it's uncomfortable and it's not fun. It's like, it's kind of the point, but I think that the author did everything that they needed to do to make their point for the story, and I think they did a good job at it. The next debut that I want to shout out is Antenora. As I've talked about, I really like the writing. I really like these girls. I really like the small town vibes. I liked the horror elements. It was creepy. It did everything I wanted from it. Following that, I have The Jasad Heir by Sarah Hesham. I really enjoyed this fantasy book. You can argue that it is romantasy just because I would say that the romance is pretty B-plot. They do spend a lot of time together and they do develop a relationship that you don't really see. It's more of a slow burn. So I can understand why some people would put it in romantasy. I would still say it's fantasy first, with some romance in it, but that's just me. I understand that if you take the romance out, she wouldn't have a book. That's not because of the romance, it's because of the character. So I don't know. Following The Jasad Heir, my next nominee is Mary by Nat Cassidy. I enjoyed this. It is not at all what I expected it to be. I was surprised by the direction that it had gone. I have not read Carrie itself, but I've read retellings of Carrie. I've seen the movie. I'm familiar with it enough. So having a Carrie retelling from a woman in menopause was definitely a different experience that I was very nervous and hesitant going into. But then it went in a direction that I wasn't expecting. And I do think that Nat Cassidy writes women, well, a man, surprisingly. I know. But I do think that he does a good job and I do like his work. And then my winner. My Darling Dreadful Thing. What a stunning book. I can't wait to see this author's next book that comes out this year. I'm so excited. I really liked it. I think that the writing was absolutely beautiful. I love the gothic feel and atmosphere to it. I loved this young girl scamming people with her mom who sucks and having like an animal companion, but they're a ghost. And I was just like, what do you mean? I loved it. It was great. I had a good time. Now, my next category is a book that made me cry. I'm gonna be really honest. I cried a lot of books this year. I know, cringe. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know what broke in my brain. I don't know what was going on, but I cried at quite a few books. I sobbed so much at 2, which is a record. I cried at quite a few. A lot of them just like made me tear up. I cried listening to just audiobooks. I cried physically reading along with books. Like, I just was in an emotional state, I guess. So let's talk about a couple of them. So first up, we're going to talk about Funny Story by Emily Henry. Yeah, I cried twice. One of them was when Daphne was talking to her mom and talking about how her dad had left and how her mom really filled in that role and like how she appreciates her mom for everything that she's done. And that really hit close to home. So I was crying at that part. And I also cried, I think, at the end, like at the third act breakup conflict. I think I cried. Which, you know, new to me. Who would have thought? I also smiled and laughed. I really resonate with the Emily Henry books that I've read. Like, they really hit, a little bit too close to home for my young adult life, but I enjoy them nonetheless. And then, next up, another book that I cried at, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I think I gave the book, like, 3.5 stars in the end, but The Book of Doors, there's a scene, like, halfway through that I just started crying. Like, I didn't care about these characters that much. I wasn't super connected to anybody. Although I did enjoy the story, it goes in a direction that wasn't, like, my all-time favorite direction, and I kind of was like, about like the second half. But for whatever reason, when that scene happened, I was like, why am I crying right now? This is so dramatic of me. I don't even know these people, but okay, here we are, crying. And now we have the winners. The 2 winners that made me absolutely sob my eyes out. Kaikeyi and The 13th Child. I don't know what it is. I think Kaikeyi was just like a slow, not quite generational, but you're seeing a whole lifetime, similar with The 13th Child, which normally I would say, I don't want a story like that. But for whatever reason, 2 of my favorite books of the year, quite similar in that way. You've got gods meddling in, interfering with their day-to-day lives, but you get to see them from childhood to their elderly years, their adulthood, and it's just, there's such beautiful stories, and I really loved seeing the bonds that they create with other people and just how everything flows. Beautiful, stunning, loved it. But God, do they hurt at the end. I cried both times. They both hurt so bad. I really enjoyed those moments though. I really am happy that I read these books because of the emotional payoff that I got from them. It's cringe and embarrassing, but like also love it. The next category I have for you guys today is Best World Building, and I'm just gonna give you the winner. It's Phantasma. Crazy, I know, but there's something about Phantasma, which is a romantasy book, heavy on this theme. There's a lot, it's like all romance. Like, yeah, there's trials that I did really enjoy, and yeah, there's like something that we're working towards, but like truly, the sisterhood, C plot. The trials, B plot. A plot is romance. It's Danny Phantom romance. It had a twist that wasn't the most surprising, but still was like, oh my gosh. And it really worked for me. I loved being in New Orleans. I loved seeing this like very gothic haunted house manor. It was so cool to me. I really loved being in this world. I loved the trials. I thought that they were unique enough, but still like nothing too crazy. But like also the stakes were pretty high for this. And I loved like the portal magic and just like bouncing around and like houses that change on their own. It's just really cool. So even if you don't like romantasy, the romance definitely can be a little bit cringe and a little bit much, and the smut scenes are, you could skip them if you're not into it, but the world, the setting, the atmosphere, I did really enjoy that, and it really did something for me. So those are all of the main things that I wanted to go over for my awards. I've got a couple small things that I just want to touch on that are booktube related. I had a lot of great bookish memories from 2024. I was featured. I was on one of the live shows for the Literally Dead Book Club. Truly one of the most jaw-dropping moments of my entire existence. I was so scared. It was so nerve-wracking. I had a lot of fun. Getting to know a lot more booktubers this year has been absolutely incredible. Having so many fun opportunities like Battle of the Booktubers, where I've gotten to talk to so many more people that like I've been watching and we're like kind of mutuals, but now I can actually like talk to them and I'm not as nervous about it, and it's just, I love it so much. It makes me so happy. I love being able to connect with the booktube community. There's just something special here. It's really cool. I hit 1K this year. I got monetized this year, which means now I'm at 1.6K, I think, which is just so crazy. Thank you absolutely everybody who's ever watched a video, liked a video, commented on a video. I appreciate everybody so much. It's weird. It's so wild being on the internet because you're like, hee, don't perceive me, but also I'm putting myself out there, so you have to perceive me. There's a lot of like emotions that go along with it, but mostly joy and happiness and just proud. So thank you guys so much. With all that said, I'm gonna go. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Got to see a little bit more of the books that I'd read that I hadn't talked about in my best and worst videos. If you want to watch those, they're gonna be in the cards, so you can check them out. But thank you guys all so much for watching and hanging out with me. I'm so excited to see what this year brings us and how much joy and chaos we end up continuing in the new year. And I hope that you all have the best reading years of your lives. And I will see you guys in my next video very soon. Bye!